some of you are bound to be mad about the title of this video. The Mandalorian is being called the future of Star Wars, that it's gonna heal this broken franchise. Hell, Dave Filoni, the wannabe cowboy that he is, and Jon Favreau, the genuinely great human being that he is, I really do mean that, are being touted as George Lucas's successors. Now, I don't know about all that, but what I am sure about is that The Mandalorian, especially Season 2, is terribly written. Terribly written. Now, before jumping into the comments section to rip me a new bunghole, hear me out about this messy Mandalorian season. So, I have watched all the current episodes of The Mandalorian at least twice. Even talked about episode 1 already in another video. All of them are riddled with poor writing decisions that hamper the plot. Mando's going on more side quests than Skyrim's Dragonborn. Yet, it was the latest episode titled The Jedi. Well, I believe now that was, by the time you're seeing this, that'll been a couple episodes ago or so. But the episode titled The Jedi left me completely slap-jawed in confusion at how nonsensical things had become. I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. The episode opens up on the planet Corvus, where we see none other than the infamous Ahsoka Tano being portrayed for the first time in live action by Rosario Dawson. Now, for any of you who don't know this, Ahsoka was created by Dave Filoni for the Clone Wars animated show that he worked on with George Lucas. During the course of the Clone Wars run, Ahsoka had become as much of a religion to Filoni as weapons are to a Mandalorian. He would not let this little Padawan go. In fact, George Lucas originally wanted her to die during Order 66. But Filoni demanded she live on and ultimately got his way with George. Which is just frustrating in its own right, that he got to run roughshod over the creator of this entire franchise, but, you know, what you gonna do? Other than say no. But never mind. So he's been getting his way with Ahsoka ever since, and I just about mean that in all the dirty ways that it sounds like I mean it. She's gone from the Clone Wars TV show to a spin-off book to becoming a founding agent of the Rebel Alliance in the Star Wars Rebels TV show. A show that ended with her shooting off to the unknown regions with Sabine Wren to find both Grand Admiral Thrawn and the Padawan Ezra Bridger. So her being back now is what's making both The Mandalorian's writing and Star Wars lore as a whole an absolute mess. It's a mess, by God. Alright, let me break out my whiteboard here.
Let me grab my whiteboard. This has been a long time coming anyway.
Star Wars Rebels ended somewhere around the time of A New Hope. And at one point we see teenage Princess Leia work with, was it Ezra and the crew of the Ghost? She looked to be about 15 to 17 there. So the timeline's a little weird there, but you get what I mean. The Mandalorian show is set 9 years after A New Hope, where the Empire has fallen, the New Republic is founded, so on and so forth. So that means that Ahsoka has been in the middle of nowhere, totally unexplored regions of space, for 9 years looking for Thrawn. Yet at the end of this episode, we find out she's still looking for him. Like, alright. Alright. You know why that doesn't work from a writing or lore perspective? Because that means Ahsoka has really just been in writer stasis for all of that time as Filoni worked out a way to bring her back in the post-Return of the Jedi era. Alright, as far as the audience can tell, she has spent 9 years doing fork all and is now still trying to accomplish the same objective she was the last time anybody saw her. Obviously, as the season goes on, we could learn more about where she's been or why she hasn't succeeded. That, however, doesn't matter because you won't believably show how a character could be gone for over a decade only to reappear right where she started at. Okay. It shows Filoni's fanboy level of love for Ahsoka that is getting in the way of telling a better story. But for now, we're gonna set the former Jedi aside to talk about the situation that Mando finds on Corvus. Because that is chock full of its own utter nonsense that just made me want to beat my own head in. Mando rocks up with the child in tow to a locked gate with guards standing overhead ready to fire on him. The same city gate that we initially saw Ahsoka assaulting, trying to get inside to get at the big bad boss lady. Now, before the fire, the captain of the guard asks Mando who he is and what he's doing here, with Mando obviously saying he's a bounty hunter. At that point, the captain asks him if he's with the guild. Mando cockily says, "Last I checked." And they bring him inside. Again, do you see the problem here? Yes? No? Maybe so? Let me ask you this. If you were that captain of the guard for a city under siege by a Jedi, are you going to let any mofo who walks up just walk through the doors? This total stranger covered in high quality armor, armed to the teeth, tells you he's with the Bounty Hunter Guild, but you're not going to try to confirm that. No. This man didn't even make an attempt to ask for ID. Hell, he didn't even ask for a name. Mando says, "I'm with the guild, so that's good enough." Yeah, naturally. What if Mando is working with the Jedi you're after. He could actually use this new trust you've granted like a derpy dog to betray you.
A few minutes later.
Spoiler alert. That's exactly what he does. A move so blasted see-through, it was practically a window. Yet he doesn't even stop there, for he has far, far more stupid at his disposal still. You see, soon after letting Mando waltz in to start wandering the city streets with no escort, just let him walk in and just start doing whatever he wants. It's fine. That couldn't end badly. Mando couldn't have used that time to set up explosives or a weapons cache or deliver secret messages or anything else. Oh my lord. But not long after, the captain asks Mando to come with him to see the woman in charge of the city because she has a job for him. I wonder what that could be. What could it be? What could someone who's being hunted by a Jedi want a bounty hunter for? Alright, that was frustrating enough. But then he walks this armed stranger into his boss's sanctuary, which is open to the sky, and this total stranger has a jetpack on. But does the captain stay there with them to make sure nothing bad happens? Nah, he just leaves them to talk. Didn't even ask Mando to leave his weapons behind. Hell, didn't even check his bags to learn about the Baby Yoda. The hell was he gonna do if Mando just went all Old West gunslinger and blew his basically defenseless boss's head off? Throw his hands up and say, "Whoops, guess I should have frisked him"? This guard captain is cheesy comic book villain stupid. Hell, that's giving him too much credit. He's more like a cheesy comic book villain goon who just gets knocked out by Batman inside of 30 seconds. But again, let's put this character aside for a minute to talk about his boss. Now, obviously, she wants to hire Mando to take care of her Jedi problem. Again, who could have seen that one coming? Total shock and all right there. So he mentions how outrageous his hiring price is, which prompts her to make him, which he cannot refuse. In return for killing Ahsoka, she will give him the large, pure Beskar spear she loves to show off in this episode. This blinking spear is at least 6 feet tall and nearly a foot around. Now, I thought after the Empire had sacked Mandalore to mine every scrap of Beskar from the planet, the metal had become immensely rare. Everyone raves about how rare and priceless this metal is. Yet so far, we have seen one ex-Imperial offer Mando a large bucket of the stuff. Several other people mention having it. And now, there's just this big ass spear of it on offer. Okay? Equally frustrating is that it is alleged that only a Mandalorian blacksmith can truly work with Beskar. So we have a supposedly super rare metal that's constantly showing up that only a near extinct race of people can work with properly, yet everyone has some of it and is keeping it. Why? Why would you prize a lump of metal you can't do much with that isn't half as rare as you claim it is? Shit comes off as a gear level up system for Mando, RPG style. At this point, I have to ask, is this a sci-fi western or a JRPG? Because I'm confused. Alright, I'm straight up confused. Mandalorian show writers need to pick a lane for Beskar and stick to it. Now, the next scene sums up one of the main issues of the show's writing as a whole. Mando walks off into this wasteland to find Ahsoka after agreeing to take her out for this Imperial warlord or what have you. And he does this with Baby Yoda on his hip in a little bag, like a chihuahua almost. Gods know why. I mean, he's constantly walking this largely defenseless baby into dangerous places. Lock him inside the secured ship? Nah. Let's trot him into increasingly dangerous places. Or just avoid finding anybody who can watch the child for a while. Oh. Even worse is that this time he sets the little one on the ground. You're in a wasteland with unknown wildlife looking for a total stranger wielding laser swords. If a real-world crow can carry off a cat, imagine what could happen to Baby Yoda here. Hell, shortly after putting him down, Ahsoka comes out of nowhere and slams Mando with her lightsabers, which is a problem in and of itself. Ahsoka has no clue who this strange man in armor is, or who the Force-sensitive baby sitting next to him is. But here she goes, trying to chop this man in half. Of course there is a chance Mando is working for the local villain of the week, but she can't assume every person who appears on this planet does. Plus, she didn't even question the child she must have been able to sense who was strong in the Force next to him. Mando has to yell out why he's there before she stops trying to slice and dice him. Then, and only then, does she notice Baby Yoda, who she starts to communicate with telepathically, telling Mando things about the youngling that cause even more lore migraines. Genuine migraines for me here. Since Ahsoka reveals, finally, the child's real name, Grogu, which I don't know why, I just don't like that name. It's more of a me problem than a story problem, but still. Then she explains that Grogu was raised in the Jedi Temple on Coruscant but was smuggled out somewhere around the time the temple fell. Before then, he was being trained as a Jedi by many different masters. Gods be good. Where do I even begin? Okay. You're telling me not only was there another member of Yoda's species in the Jedi Temple besides Yoda and Yaddle during the whole Clone Wars, but he was already being trained in the temple despite his size and the fact that he can't even talk yet. How advanced is Grogu exactly? He has to be packed around and fed like a baby, but he can be trained in the Jedi arts. Am I to believe he is a young child and a baby at the same time? The writers need to decide how advanced this child is instead of raising and lowering his abilities on a whim. But moving past that, we can talk about this whole he was smuggled out of the temple thing. They drop that bombshell like it's nothing. One does not simply walk a Force-sensitive baby out of the Jedi Temple at its height. The security surrounding those children was immense, so how could anyone remove one before Darth Vader's assault on the temple? Did they instead smuggle him out during Vader's siege of the temple? If they did, that opens up even more questions about how that's possible. If you can smuggle such a unique Force-sensitive child out of the temple at any point, you have to wonder how many Jedi might be out there after the massacre. That simple statement by Ahsoka opens up an immense number of story and lore headaches. Headaches the writers don't appear to be thinking about. It feels as if people like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are working so hard to make a fun-filled adventure show chock full of great fan service that the finer details are going by the wayside. This passion obviously has been sorely missing from Disney-era Star Wars, but passion is still not a replacement for well-thought-out writing. None of this is to say that The Mandalorian can't be turned around. Finding a balance between fun storytelling and tighter writing. The question for me is, can the show writers find that balance before fans realize how many issues this show has? So that is just, my general thoughts on the issues surrounding The Mandalorian, especially Season 2. If you have any issues with my arguments, please let me know, either here on YouTube or on Twitter or Instagram. Anywhere you see the Punk 5 Pop name, you can hit me up anytime. Till the next video, I'll see you around.